we're going to look at area formula now that we've already gone through the area conversion, so using the units for area. Now we're going to look at actually working out the area of some basic shapes. So I've got a list of some shapes here that we'll probably look at. So you've got rectangle or a square, you work out using length times width. Length obviously being one of the sides, width being the other. Got a triangle, to work out a triangle we have half of the base, so base being the bottom, times by the height of the triangle. Now the reason it's half is because if we put two triangles of the same size together, it makes up a rectangle, which would be the same as length times width, or base times height, and we half it to get that value. Now a parallelogram, it's the same as a rectangle essentially, but it's been squashed or pushed over onto a bit of a slant, as you can see here. So if we straightened up these sides, you just have a rectangle, so it's the area equals base times height. Trapezium, you've got top here that's a bit shorter than the bottom, so B would be, I would say, the base. You've got height here. Formula for this is A, so your top plus the bottom, B, divided by 2 times height. Okay, so that's the formula we use. Then with the circle, much like with the circumference, we actually find the radius this time, so just the radius. So the formula we use to find area is pi times the radius squared will give us the area of the circle. Then we may look at sectors, but not in this video, but the area of a sector is the degrees we're given out of 360, because the whole circle is 360 degrees, so it gives us the fraction of the circle multiplied by pi r squared, much like the top. Alright, let's have a look at a couple. So we'll start pretty simple. We're going to look at a rectangle first up. So if we think back to the previous page, the formula for this one is area is equal to length times width. Now, I've done that like that for the first time, but what we want to see is the abbreviation. So area, length times width. Now, 6 is going to be our length, 2 is going to be our width, so 6 times 2. So we're really just substituting the value in for what the pronumeral, the unknown, is, okay? So 6 times 2 would give us 12 centimeters, and we make sure it's squared because we're using the formula for area. Now this one, the triangles. Now the formula for the triangle, if we look back with the previous one, was half the base times the height. So we got half times by base, which is 13 in this case, times by 7. And we'll get an answer, so I'll put this one in. We'll do half times by 13 times by 7 will give me an answer of 45.5 meters squared. So very simple, you just substitute the values in for what is missing currently. Alright, now look at this one. So this one here is what we call a parallelogram. So we need to remember that. Now the formula for the parallelogram was area equals base times height. Remember, it's just a rectangle that's been pushed on a side. So we look for the base. The base we're going to call this time is 8. So you have 8. Your height is this little dotted line that will be shown in your parallelogram or your trapezium. You'll see in the next one. So that'll be 3. So we have 8 times 3 gives us 24. And that'll be meters squared also. So don't forget the meters, don't forget the squared, because you will lose marks there. Okay. The next one we'll have a look at, this is what we call a trapezium, or some people call it trapezoid. Now the formula for that one, if we remember, was area is equal to A plus B over 2, bracket, times by the height. Now remember I said B would be the base, so if we go down the bottom that'll be 11, which means that the top must be A, and the line through the middle to show us the height of the trapezium is H. So what we have is 3 plus 11 over 2 times by 5. Now if we work out what's in the bracket, 3 plus 11 is 14, divide that by 2 will give me 7, times 5 ends up being 35 millimeters squared. Okay, so obviously if you're struggling with these, go back, look at the video again, watch me go through this again, rewind, do what you need to have a look at that. But it's the same formula, you just put in the different number. Whatever number suits the question, you put in there. Alright, next one, circles. Now, what do we know? We need to find the radius. So on this one, have we got a radius? Yes, we do. So the radius is 7, and we go to the formula, which was area, which is equal to pi so use pi on your calculator, times by r squared, so I've got pi times by 7 squared. So we'll go over to our calculator, shift pi, so on yours you'll be the same thing but different numbers because you've got a different calculator, times by 7 squared equals, and that will give me a value of 153.94, so we round to 2 decimal places. The question doesn't state it, but some of them will, so then the second one here, 2 decimal places. So what we do, make sure you round to 94, and it's in meters, so that'll be meters squared. The next one we're looking at, it's a radius, so radius is 10. We'll talk about if it's a diameter, what we need to do. So for this one, same thing, area is equal to pi r squared pi times the radius, which this time is 10 squared. Check this one on the calculator, pi times 10 squared, and your answer for that one would be 314.16 centimeters squared. Now, we probably won't have a look at these questions in this lesson, but going forward we probably will. We're going to find the area of the quadrant or the semicircle. So this is a quadrant, so it's 1/4 of a circle, okay? There's a quarter of a circle, this one over here is a half of a circle. So, what we do to find out the area of these is we still use our pi r squared, because that's the area of a circle, but because we've only got a quarter of it, or 1/4, we need to divide the whole thing by 4. Same as with this one, we'll be doing area is equal to pi r squared. Because we've got half a circle, we half it. Okay, so we find out the radius, so from the middle to the outside, your radius for that one will be 3. The other one, we've got a diameter this time, so from one side to the other we've got 5, so your diameter is equal to 5. So what we do is divide that in half to give me 2.5 as a radius. Okay, so this is important because we need that for that part. So we go back over here, pi times 3 squared over 4, and we'll get an answer. So we do shift pi times 3 squared, get the answer to that, divide the whole thing by 4, my answer will be 7.07 meters squared. Now we'll look at the other one alternatively. You've got your pi, you've got times, so we'll write this in, pi times your radius of 2.5 squared over 2. So we multiply that by 2.5 squared, get an answer, divide that answer by 2. That'll give you 9.82 kilometers squared. So do not forget to put the units in, it is very, very important. Alright, you have a go at the stuff you have, the questions you have, and good luck.